we are looking at some data that we're given. So we are looking at the cost and the demand price. We want to compute the revenue and the profit, and then once we have the profit, we want to know where the profit is zero. In order to do that using Excel, you would have to use one of the computational features. So we would have goal-seek, and that means that we need formulas. So we will start by taking the data and constructing functions for ourselves. Here is the data set. And so we'll start, the blue one is the cost function. So we'll start there. And we will do a trend line. It's linear, and we want to display the equation because we need to know what to work with. And I want to display that a little larger for myself so that I can make sure that I can read it well, so I'm not making any typos. So my cost function is apparently given by 121.19 times the quantity plus 18,831. So let's enter that formula. So this is equal to 121.19 times my quantity, which comes out of cell B6, and then plus 18,831. So that's cost. Demand price is going to be similar. So I'm going to go and now highlight my demand price data set, all of the red points. I will do the trend line again. It is still on linear. Display the equation. So we have that our demand price is going to be equal to minus 0.1143 times my quantity, and then plus 263.57. That means my revenue should be equal to my quantity multiplied by the demand price, because that's the formula. And my profit should be equal to my revenue minus the cost. Now I can distribute that by quick fill over the entire table. And you see here that we have a lot of data. In order to get a better feel for where the profit might be zero, I would actually just simply take the profit function. So highlight those two rows and then do a quick graph. And so in order to find my break-even points where the profit is zero, it sometimes helps to get a little bit of a guess of where that would be. Now if you trace this back, it would plot out, I would guess that the quantity would be about 100. There's a second break-even point where you stop making profit altogether, which is at 1100. Now we can take these values here. Pull them through. We're not quite at zero, so I can take the first one that I'm really interested in, where I'm starting to make profit. My guess was a little off. 100 is apparently a little too low. I'm going to have a profit of negative 5,736, or in other words, quite a loss. And so I'm going to highlight that. Then I want to go to data. Under what if, you're going to go to goal seek. And this cell, which is highlighted, I want it to be 0. And in order to do that, I need to change the quantity. That's my input. That's my variable. That would normally be the x, or in this case the q. So we'll do OK. And notice that here it says minus 2.175, then e to the negative 08. That means that it's multiplied times a 10 to the negative 8, which means it's basically that 2.175 divided by a 1 with 8 zeros. That is a really, really small number. You're taking 2 roughly and multiplying it by 100 million. That's close enough to 0 for our intent of purposes. So we would have that the quantity of about 150 leads to your first break-even point. We can do the next one, similar way. We highlight the cell that we want to set to 0. Go to what if, goal seek. We want that cell to be 0. And we will change the quantity because that is our variable. Get similar situation here. And so it tells you that these two values here in green, my 150 kind of rounded off, and 1095 are two break-even points, where the first one is probably of most interest to a business person because that's when you're starting to make profit. The other point clearly that we would be interested in is finding out where the maximum profit would be. That should be in the middle, midway between those 2 points. So this, having both of them, also allows you to figure out where the maximum profit is.